The Smile of Ana Vélez. In the coastal city of Black Star, where the tides seemed to whisper long-forgotten secrets and the damp streets held more than footsteps, the most anticipated cultural event of the year was taking place under heavy rain. The opening of Fragments of Silence, the exhibition by artist Ana Vélez. Young, enigmatic, and brilliant, Ana had gained notoriety for her disturbing works, paintings in dark tones, always portraying scenes that evoked pain, guilt, and death. They said she painted with silent fury. Her green, unwavering eyes seemed to pierce through anyone who met them, and her voice, when heard, was low and steady, like someone who hid more than she ever said. On the night of the opening, the final piece in the gallery, covered by a black veil, awaited its reveal. The hall was crowded, and the sound of the rain mixed with the anxious murmur of the guests. When the veil dropped, the murmuring ceased. The painting depicted a crime scene, not a generic depiction, but a meticulous reconstruction with impossible detail. The body's position, the blood pattern, the victim's broken necklace. It was the murder of Clara Mendez, committed 12 years ago, a case that had never been solved. Ana said nothing. She only smiled. The next morning she was gone. No letter, no note, no message. In her studio there were red paint streaks on the floor, leading to the pier. The painting of the crime had been slashed into a cross shape, as if clawed by a fingernail. The police treated it as a voluntary disappearance. The newspapers suggested it was an elaborate performance, but some knew something was deeply wrong. Among them was Mateus Bragança, a former homicide detective, now retired and reclusive in a crumbling house on the city's outskirts. Mateus spent his days surrounded by old newspaper clippings, VHS tapes, and half-empty bottles. He had once been one of the best, until he broke down during an unresolved scandal. His sanity had cracked from what he couldn't prove, and from what he chose to forget. It was a photo in the newspaper that shook him. Ana Vélez, smiling in front of her painting, her eyes staring directly into the camera. But something in that look was off, as if she wasn't looking at the lens, but at him, as if she were saying, "You know." The detective left his exile and began investigating. Discreet visits to the museum, veiled interrogations with curators, searches through her studio. He discovered that each painting in the exhibition depicted an unsolved crime in the city, all cases quietly shelved, all marred by suspicious errors in investigation. And the most disturbing part, Anna's paintings included details that had never been made public. How did she know? The answer began to surface when Mateus found a name repeatedly mentioned behind those closed investigations: the Silent Club, an informal group made up of influential figures, judges, businessmen, a former mayor, who manipulated truth for the sake of social stability. They silenced journalists, bought off police, and erased inconvenient facts. Ana, Mateus learned, was the daughter of one of their victims, a woman murdered under mysterious circumstances, her case quickly buried. Ana had grown up in shelters, shuffled between foster homes and boarding schools, but she learned early to observe, to paint, to remember, and she chose to use her art as a weapon. The paintings were her silent scream. Among Ana's belongings, Mateus found a sketchbook. One drawing showed a hooded figure holding an antique pocket watch. The way the hand gripped it, the angle of the wrist, it sent a chill through him. He recognized that watch. It belonged to retired Judge Cesar Nobrega, the same man who, years earlier, had pressured him to close the Clara Mendez case. Mateus confronted the judge. The old man, now sick and reclusive, went pale at the sight of the sketch. He muttered between shallow breaths, "She knew too much, but not enough." That same night, he died of an overdose, but not before planting a seed of doubt in the detective's mind. Desperate for answers, Mateus returned to Anna's studio and uncovered a hidden camera wired to an encrypted server. After days of effort, he managed to crack part of the content. Among videos of her painting process, he found one final clip. Ana speaking to someone off-screen. "If something happens to me," she says, looking straight into the lens, "the truth is in the painting behind the glass." The detective rushed to the museum, now closed. He convinced the night watchman to let him in. Searching the damaged crime painting, he found a second canvas hidden inside the frame. It depicted melting faces tangled in an anguished mass of paint. But among them, one stood out. His own. Mateus collapsed to his knees. This was more than an accusation. It was a mirror. He had also been part of the silence. Not out of malice, but exhaustion, fear. By shelving evidence, by not pushing harder, he had been complicit. The final clue led him to the old municipal theater, abandoned for decades. In the moldy basement, behind a hidden trapdoor, he found Ana. She was alive, weak but lucid, surrounded by dozens of sketches on the walls, artistic skeletons of works yet to be painted. She smiled. "You came," she said calmly. "Who did this to you?" Mateus asked, his throat tight. "They locked me away, yes, but I let them find me. I needed you to see, to remember. You were silent too, Mateus, just like them. But now you can paint the truth." He took her away, not to the police, not to the press. He brought her to safety. Days later, she vanished again, without a trace. But this time it was her choice. Months passed. And then, in a clandestine gallery in Lisbon, a new painting appeared, signed with a stylized A. It showed an old detective standing before a mirror. Outside, he was crying, but in the reflection, he smiled. And it was Anna's face. Mateus published a book, The Silenced. He detailed each crime, every omission, every name. No one was arrested. The evidence, though damning, had aged too much. But something began to happen. One by one, members of the old club started dying, some in mysterious accidents, others by apparent suicide. The smile of Ana Vélez was never forgotten. Some claimed to have seen her at anonymous exhibits across Europe. Others believe she paints under a new name. But to Mateus Bragança, the important thing was that the truth had finally begun to bleed through the cracks of silence. And her smile, that damn serene smile, still haunted him every night.